Hi everyone, it's Professor Dera again. All right, so I want to make some propositions today. You know, on what I think should be done, especially in the education or educational institutions or sector of Nigeria, because I believe why we had programs like the NYSC is to promote unity amongst Nigerians, and that's why they post people from the north to the south, people from the west to the east, and people from the east, to other parts of the country. Now, essentially, I feel like that Nigerians sometimes put themselves in a situation that is not good for them. They sort of do things that are not in the best interest of Nigerians. Now, I want to speak to NYSC. I'm not a big fan of NYSC, for example. And apart from the fact that a lot of people have lost their lives doing service because of insecurity or being posted to places that they don't understand the terrain, they don't understand the nuances, they don't understand what is going on in the polity there, or the local issues there, and they end up losing their lives, or maybe they find themselves in unthinkable living conditions and being subjected to all sorts of, bad situations that, you know, that is not of any making of theirs, and because of service to country, they lose their lives or they have very terrible experiences. In fact, there has been some quotas saying that they have to use their own personal money to fund some of the projects they did while they are in service, although NYSC have a lot of positive results, or positive more pros than cons. But I still want to believe that we should make it, if anything, optional. And I'm speaking to the foreign trained citizens that want to get certificates from NYSC. And I'm going to use myself for example. In 2015, after my graduation in 2014, when I got my first degree in the UK, I went back to Nigeria. Actually, I went back to Nigeria, like I'm not coming back to the UK. But then if I'm to come back within 90 days, I have to come back. And to be fair, my other plan B was to do the orientation camp, maybe find somebody to help me be signing off, the rest of the service, and probably you pay them what you get, your alawi. Because at the end of the day, you have a better choice of being abroad and earning more money. So that's what people used to do unofficially anyway. But when I went to Nigeria, I stayed 3 months, and I have maximum of 90 months because of the visa I had at the time, to stay out of the UK. Now, that was the period of the election, and Buhari just came into power, and there was nothing going on for months. You didn't even have a cabinet. The whole NYSC scheme was deferred. People that supposed to get their call up didn't get their call up. I had my green card, landed in Nigeria, and I couldn't even, get deployed or even go to camp. So long story short, up till now, haven't done service. So I started making calls. Okay, how do I do service? If I have potential to work in Nigeria or vie for office, or because it's one of the issues that people that are in public office face. And I found out that they are saying now, oh, there's no signature signing. You have to come back and do the whole full 1 year in Nigeria. You have to, and then the minimum wage proposed is 70K, and that's what they pay NYSC coppers. And I'm like, okay, so as it is, I have a family of four, right? And I'm in the UK. So should I leave everything about my life and move back to Nigeria for 1 full year, 12 months, to go and be earning 70,000 naira alawi and survive on that? Hell no, nobody will do that. So why don't Nigeria look into benefiting from their workforce who have studied abroad, who are trained abroad, who have work experience abroad, who wants to come and help in Nigeria, by giving them job, or allowing them to work in Nigeria by having a system. And they told me that I cannot get the exemption, by the way. So if you're thinking about exemption, they said if you graduated under 35, you can't get exemption. So if you got your first degree under 35 or under 30, you must still do the service. You can't get exemption, you can't get exempted. So, and I'm asking myself, why do Nigerians do some stupid laws that handicap their progress? Because you have people who are foreign trained, who necessarily don't have to come to Nigeria and spend 1 year earning 70,000 naira, that is less than $50. You can't, my running cost, my overhead is multiple of 4 million naira. So unless you are paying me more than, 2,500 pounds equivalent, it's not worth my time to come to Nigeria. And this is why nobody is coming back home. What did the Chinese benefit from? They benefited from their foreign trade Chinese. They told them, if you come back, guaranteed job. And that's what the Chinese did, and that's what helped the economy. That's what the Indians are doing. Although some of them, because of the virtue of their numbers, no matter how many they lose, they still have more than enough to help sustain India. But I'm saying this to say, Nigeria needs to find a way to deal with NYSC laws or guidelines or rules to accommodate the foreign-based workers that want to work in Nigeria, that want to, especially now that some of these firms are leaving the country and you want to encourage local firms to come and invest. You also need to allow people to bring their workforce, and these things will allow even those local investors that want to come and invest in Nigeria to know that if they find themselves in government, or they find themselves, trying to look for job in multinationals or big oil firms or whatever, that they are allowed to get those kind of jobs. So that people will not be handicapped. We don't have the problem to say, oh, you have to go and do NYSC first. NYSC, how much are you paying? You are paying 70,000 naira, and you want somebody who lived abroad to come back and do that. How am I going to keep my family with 70,000 naira? Can I even find a rent? Can I even find rent in Abuja or Lagos or wherever you deploy me for 70,000 naira, not to talk of feeding? Is it livable for somebody that is living in Nigeria, talking about somebody who is foreign-based? I mean, make it make sense. Or are you expecting somebody that is returning from abroad to have savings that will last them for a year, and you are making it mandatory that you can only do your monthly this thing by thumbprint? Fair enough, nobody is arguing that people should be in Nigeria to sign or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you want them to really be in Nigeria, pay them enough. Have a different pay system for those who are returning from abroad. If you want to benefit from them, you cannot pay people who have the ability or the chance or the opportunity to stay abroad to come back to Nigeria while they are trying to work for you. And again, more than that, our educational system, I want to say this, right? Growing up, we were penalized for speaking Igbo in Igbo land. In the 5 southeastern states of Nigeria, you're not allowed to speak vernacular in school, in private school, in expensive schools. So why can't we make it mandatory as Nigerians not to make English and mathematics as compulsory for WAEC, right? Although that helps us on international or global stage, but we should be learning our own Nigerian languages to be able to foster unity and growth. These are the simple things I don't know why the logic or the sense of our leaders don't get to. Except you are a secret police or you are SSS or DSS, that's when they will start looking for people who have the ability to speak all the different major languages in Nigeria. Maybe people that can speak Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. You mustn't have to be a security personnel in Nigeria to learn the 3 languages. We should put it in our curriculum that as linguistics in primary schools, in nursery, in secondary school, that we learn at least the 3 major languages in Nigeria. There are countries like Canada that speak French, English, and other languages. There are countries that speak 3, 4 languages. And it shouldn't be any different in Nigeria. Everybody in the South is supposed to know how to speak Igbo, speak Yoruba, and speak Hausa. Everybody in the West is supposed to speak Yoruba, speak Hausa, speak Igbo. Everybody in the North is supposed to speak the 3 languages. Not anytime we are on social media, if you go to people's life, if they start speaking Yoruba, people will start telling you, oh, speak English, speak English. If you go to Igbo life, they will say, oh, you're speaking too much Igbo, speak English, speak English. We need to find a way to unite people by language. Language is powerful. That is one thing that, agents and, operatives of, governments of different world, when they go any place, they blend in when they can speak language. Language is very, very important. Language is very important. And I don't see any reason why we are fostering growth and unity amongst ourselves, and yet we cannot, and that's why people can easily be divided Because once you start speaking Igbo to people, other people will feel left out. They're speaking, even in marriages. But had it been that from childhood you learnt the three, then anyone that anybody speak, you can switch. And I'm not saying anything was wrong in speaking English as well. But why are you teaching me English and teaching me French? And you're not telling me, you're telling me I cannot speak Igbo language. These are the stupid things that our forefathers did. And it's not everything our forefathers did that they are sensible. And this generation of Nigerians are still following the stupid rules made by these people. We need to look ourselves in the eye and ask ourselves, this is 2024. This is another millennium. What is exactly what we want out of this country? Right, look at what Dangote is passing through, right? Why are we even saying that we need a refinery where we don't have crude to refine? And Melek is still there. Our government officials have sold our crude oil that is still not drilled, the one still underground. We've sold it futuristically, forward sale, just to go and borrow money, borrow all these loans and waste it. You can't see anything that they've managed to solve with all the money they borrowed. Not power, not good road, not water, nothing. And we already sold our crude, and Melek Yari is still there, producing 1.25 million. Go and see the video I posted on my status, on my profile. Right? The man that came to, forgotten his name, he came to channels and spoke to Geoffrey Zoma. And he was saying that, you know, out of 1.25 million barrels that we produce, 750 goes to IOC, the rest goes to, what do you call it, IMF loans that we are paying and not the rest. So all Nigeria has every month is 200,000 barrels to survive. Can you imagine? Which magic do you want Tinubu to do? Which magic do you want Tinubu to do? He has increased FAC allocation, student loan is there, borrowing. I'm not an APC supporter, but I like to look at things objectively. He has released the fertilizers to state governments and state governors and senators. You know, he has done some things that you can see, okay, this man actually mean well. He's trying. Local government autonomy, all these things are shock absorbers he's done to sort of help the whole subsidy and floating of the naira. But you can see that he means well, and none of the other candidates, my principal P2B, Atiku, that said that they will not do the same. But the point remains, you have to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let businesses do, let Southeasterners do business on Monday, which is the most important business week, business weekday, right? When that starts going on, or when that starts happening, you know, then we have to make sure these refineries come on stream. But what we are hearing now, 200,000 barrels, that is the truth. They're being honest to us. With 200,000 barrels, we are going nowhere. So we have to now focus on non-oil production. Do you understand? But most essentially, what I'm trying to address in this video is that we need to find a way to develop a Nigerian interest culture. What is the Nigerian interest? Let every part of Nigeria speak at least 3 languages on top of the indigenous one. So if you come from Ijo, Ishekiri, Ogoni, wherever you come from, Ogoja, I don't know, anywhere you come from, learn your language, learn Hausa Yoruba, Igbo, the most popular ones, learn them, so that we can easily integrate, so that people will not really judge us, because all of us look alike, we look the same, unless they start giving you special marks, we are the same, right? But if we don't do these things, we will just be looking at ourselves based on what language we speak or our tribe or whatever, and we can easily get divided. And then we have to always run to English to be able to communicate amongst ourselves. And this is where they got us very, very cheap, because the Indians never lost their language. No, even their accent is still authentic when they even speak the English. The Chinese never lost their language. The Russians never lost their language. So if you really and truly Nigeria wants to be great, they have to go back to the basics. You have to go back to the basics, you know. We have to find a way to get the products that we need internally, build products. We have to focus on our educational system, be intentional, train our students on vocational self-services. More so, our language. We must learn how to speak multiple languages. If I had learned Hausa or Yoruba from childhood, maybe I will have a better rapport with people. People will not look at me and say, oh, you are Igbo, you are this one, I'm Igbo. No. So these are the things I believe we should look into. Very, very important. Thank you so much.